Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio. And I'm so happy to be here this morning. This is one child abuse survivor to another, 5:30 a.m. Calgary, Alberta time. It's nice and early, and I'm glad to be here. I just found some great information that I wanted to share this week, especially this week, regarding family violence and the effects of abuse on children and how it affects the brain, and it sort of ties in with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and I thought we'd just kind of keep going on that since it's a huge topic, it's a huge subject, and I know there's a lot of study being done on it, and it's just something that a lot of child abuse survivors and even survivors of car wrecks and just traumatic events in someone's life can cause post-traumatic stress disorder. So it doesn't have to always be abuse that causes PTSD. Lots of sort of traumatic. I guess that's why it's called a post-traumatic stress disorder. And so it's a great subject because there are so many people suffering with this, and it is a treatable. It's a treatable disorder. So I'm so happy to be here. It's Wednesday, just right before Christmas Eve, and if you celebrate Christmas, then we all know it's getting close, and if anybody's got last-minute stuff to do, I just wish you all well on that. I know myself, I started really late getting ready for Christmas, and but that's okay because it's just a beautiful time of year, and I'm just so blessed to have all the people in my life that I do. So I just wish you all the best. And this morning we're going to start out with this article from www.familyviolence.alberta.ca. For anybody interested in looking into it, it's a great article on family violence, the effects, and what happens to children who grow up in a violent home, and conditions that increase the risk of child abuse and stuff like that. So we'll continue on in this article and finish this one up this week. And I'm just wanted to talk this morning about conditions that increase the risk of child abuse. I'm reading right from this article and quoting, child abuse can happen in any home, at any income level, and in any culture. However, some circumstances make child neglect and abuse more likely. The three most common circumstances in which child abuse and neglect take place are when, this is just according to this article here, parents or guardians grew up in an abusive home or in abusive homes and or witnessed abuse as children. And that's one reason. 2, parents or guardians have substance abuse or other addiction problems. And 3, parents or guardians are under enormous personal stress because of poverty, unemployment, health problems, emotional or mental illness, relationship difficulties, adjusting to life in a new country, or a crisis in their lives. And 2 other circumstances with a risk of child abuse and neglect are when A, a parent or guardian sees the children as objects or possessions, and B, a parent or guardian does not understand normal child behavior or healthy child development. And they go on to say, it is obvious that children or youth are more at risk of abuse when they live with adults who have many personal problems. Helping children and youth directly, as well as helping their families, can benefit everyone. So that's the case. I know in lots of homes. I know in my home growing up that was the case. It was, very stressful. There was the issue of poverty. My dad worked and everything, but it was just such a large family. My mom had health problems. My dad had a bit of mental stress on his a little bit of mental illness there, and my mom had a lot of emotional problems as well as physical health problems. They had relationship difficulties, and they had moved to another country, and so they were having kind of like a crisis in their lives, and so all of those things were present in the situation that I grew up in, and so that really opened up the door to abusive behavior between them towards each other, which for domestic violence issues, and between child abuse issues for the way that they treated their children. And it was mostly due to stress, a lack of help, and a lack of they just didn't get the help that they needed, and they were actually told to go to counseling and didn't go. I think they went a couple times. That's what my dad said, and they'd gone a couple times, but they didn't continue on, and they should have, because the family would have well, I would like to think that the family would have gone a little bit different and things wouldn't have been it wouldn't have gotten destroyed like it did. So how abuse, neglect, and exposure to violence affect children? This is continuing on this page here. The threat of abuse affects children's brain development. Brain scans show that children in abusive environments use much of their brain to watch out for danger. Less of their brain is available for healthy growth and development. It affects their physical, emotional, and mental development. It affects their ability to form healthy relationships. It affects the child even when the child is not consciously aware of the violence in the home. That's quite interesting, isn't it? All children in a threatening environment are affected by fear. They may feel anxious or panicky, have an increased heart rate. Babies in violent or angry homes have faster heart rates even in their sleep, it says. Be very watchful and attentive all the time as though on red alert. And because their brains are distracted by fear, the children may find it hard to concentrate or pay attention, have difficulty sleeping, and have difficulty learning. So these are all how abuse and neglect and exposure to violence affect children. So if if you grew up in a home that was full of abuse, neglect, and this is kind of what happens to you as you're developing as a child. And I found this quite interesting. This article. I had never really looked into the issues surrounding child abuse before. It was mostly just internalizing it and dealing with my own pain and trauma and PTSD. Just trying to cope, really. And now that I'm, finding freedom and really finding freedom and healing in just getting involved and mostly just getting involved for my own sake and also for everyone else. Because I thought, if I'm not willing to share my story and get involved on a personal level, there wouldn't be any point in trying to help someone else. And so I thought, this is really healing for myself as well. And I'm just so happy to be here. This is blogtalkradio.com. And, if you're interested in phoning in, you can always call. I have a guest call-in number, and, of course, long-distance charges apply. But you can phone in if you have, a question or just a quick topic that you want to be brought up, or you can send me an email. But my guest call-in number is area code 917-889-3736, and you're more than welcome to phone in. And I also have a chat room chat board thing, and you can register as a user on blogtalkradio.com, and you can go on there and register as a user, and you can get in on all this wonderful thousands and thousands of Blog Talk Radio shows that are going on, and there's so many different kinds and varieties, and I would suggest you take a look at it. And if you wanted to have your own Blog Talk Radio show, you could just have your own show. It's great. So you're welcome to go on there and register, and then you can send me a chat message. But make sure, if you want it to stay private, that you will put private on there so that I don't read it out to the public, because that can happen, right? Because this is actually streaming live. So I hope to hear from you, and I'd like to hear any comments are appreciated, and any kind of topic information is just wonderful. But we'll just keep going here. Children in a threatening environment use different ways to cope. We were kind of talking a little bit about that yesterday. Some children react by becoming more aggressive. They may be defiant, act impulsive, have angry outbursts, act bossy or pushy, and bully or hurt others. And sometimes these loud children do not appear to be affected. They look like they feel confident and in charge, but their aggressive behaviors grow out of fear expressed outwardly as anger. Some children react by becoming quiet and withdrawn. They may try to stay safe by becoming invisible, go into their own fantasy world and tune out the world around them, be more obedient or passive than other children, be numb or disconnected from their own feelings, be detached from other people, have a hard time getting along with others, and be depressed. Sometimes these quiet children do not seem to be affected by what is going on around them. They do not seem to react. However, this unaffected appearance is a danger sign. In the face of fear and feeling helpless to affect what is going on, they have disconnected from their environment. As long as children live in a threatening or abusive environment, the trauma will continue to affect their brains, and they will not be able to heal. So that's what this article is really mostly about. I thought it was just so interesting because growing up in a home that was very violent and abusive, physically, both physically, verbally, just every some sexual abuse, every kind of abuse you can think of. And it really had its toll on me. Now, I can't speak for the rest of my family, and I wouldn't even try. But I know that 2 of my brothers are dead, and one committed suicide, never talked about his feelings on the whole issue of growing up in that home. And I know he loved us and he loved his family. We all loved him, but he could not cope. And he didn't look for help, and he didn't get the help that he needed. Even if, I don't know if he really searched for help or not. He might have, but he might have been drug related. I know my other brother died of a drug overdose up here in a shelter here in Calgary, a homeless shelter. And this is the kind of thing that I don't want to see happen to you. So if you're someone out there who's suffering and you just can't seem to get, past this whole and you know what, it's so valid, the feelings are valid, right? But if you need help, you make sure that you reach out and get the help that you need. Don't sit and suffer in silence, and don't sit and suffer and continue, maybe self-harming yourself, or maybe you're addicted to drugs and you're on the street or whatever. Absolutely do not continue on in that lifestyle. I would like everyone to phone me, down the road here and say, you know what, we listened to you, and we went out and we made a phone call and we got some help, because this is we do count and we do matter, and it doesn't matter, your past is your past, and I'm very much dealing with my past, but it is in the past, and I control my future now, to a very certain degree, right? I mean, there's certain things you can control and certain things that you can't, and the things that you can control, that's the stuff you really can. I myself can get a hold of and say, you know what, I want to have a good life. I really want to succeed, and success to me is just, helping people, and I really want to make a difference in this life, and you can too. So if you're, thinking it's just no use, and, you can't go on because you're dealing with depression or some, domestic violence or abuse, make sure you make the proper phone call. 911 first of all. Call 911. And there's people out there waiting to help. And so if you think you're going to commit suicide or something, you make sure you call 911, because you know why? Suicide is never the answer. That's according to Kevin Caruso from suicide.org. I'd suggest you go on his website. This man has devoted his life to making sure that people like you and me know that suicide is never the answer. Getting help is the answer. I'm reading from his page here. If you are suicidal, have attempted suicide, or are a suicide survivor, you will find help, hope, comfort, understanding, support, love, and extensive resources here. Kevin, this is Kevin Caruso writing and talking here, and he says, I love you, and I will never stop fighting for you. This man's fighting for you and me. This man's fighting for anybody who's ever thought, they weren't worth it, and that life just wasn't worth it. I'm telling you, life is worth it. And, I grew up in a home that I was made to feel worthless, and actually, told that I was worthless and didn't mean anything. And that really, it just hurts. It just cuts to the heart. And I had to learn myself. I had to really reach in, and without the help of any aid from any family members or anything, really talk to myself and say, you know what, you are worth it. You do matter, and your brothers should not have died that way. And I really care very much for my brothers, which I think is kind of unique in my family. And I love my brothers, and I'm so sad that happened to them. So guess what? You're going to make the phone call. You're not going to harm yourself or anyone else. You're going to make the phone call, and you're going to dial 911 and get the professional help that you need. And then you're going to come back and be a friend on my show. Because I just, I'm not a counselor. All I can do is say that I'm one child abuse survivor to another. And you deserve to have a good life. And I know that I do. So we got to work at it, and we have to stay alive to do that. And that's how we win. We stay alive. So I'm just going to keep encouraging you to hang in there and just realize there is help. Go on Dreamcatchers for AbusedChildren.com, and you will find tons and tons of resources, so many resources and phone numbers and people that you can contact with questions and to get some help. And it's just a wonderful website. These two ladies and a whole lot of people have devoted their lives to helping people like you and me get through this. So I'll be back on tomorrow morning, believe it or not, and I'll be back on Christmas Day as well. And I'm just going to continue on. And I just hope that you'll join me and make sure you get the help that you need, and make sure you stay strong and stay alive. And I hope to hear from you real soon. And you have a great and wonderful day. Make sure you get the help you need. Send me a message if you need to. I'll be around, hanging around the computer. So make sure you contact me, and if you need anything, let me know, and I'll try to get the information for you. And otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow on tomorrow's show, One Child Abuse Survivor to Another. I'll be back on tonight, actually, 9:30.